When I start at a new job, the phrase that always comes to my mind is the opportunity that is before us. I find myself wanting to send out a memo company wide because I know when you're in an environment for long enough, you can lose perspective and sometimes you start to only see the problems rather than the opportunities. Well, that in itself is an opportunity. And so today we're going to take a look at how we can change our mindset to change the outcomes that we have whenever we enter into a new situation and whenever we are actually given new opportunities. So, we're going to look at that today and more on the Daily Dance.
Welcome to the Daily Dance with your host, Brad Richardson.
And welcome back to the Daily Dance. It's good to have you here. Glad to go down these paths with you as we look for better ways to handle our business lives and ways that we can be encouraged and encourage one another, skill up, and better approach the challenges that face us on a daily basis. And I didn't mean to rhyme there, but there you go. Glad to host you here. It is the Daily Dance. Just a reminder that you can find us on Rumble and YouTube and X and LinkedIn, and would love to see you on Locals, where we are attempting to build out a community where we can have conversations around these types of topics. That would be great. Before we dive in to today's topic, it is the Daily Dance. The name of the show comes from the habit of getting up every morning before you leave the house. The rule is that you do a little dance before you start your day to just get in a better mindset, to change the atmosphere, change your attitude, and hopefully move you in a better direction. So we do a daily dance here on the show as well. So you can double dip if you've already done your daily dance, and then you can do one here with us. But for everyone, if this is your first or second go round for the day, I encourage you to dance with us, and let's do our daily dance. And there we go. All right. So, danced up and ready for the day. Thanks again for joining. Today, going to take a look at a subject that can affect you and the people around you greatly. And that is the learning to see the opportunity before us. So, there's almost always opportunity. I'm going to say, I want to say always opportunity, but hey, maybe there are situations I'm sure where there's no opportunity, that's a possibility. So let's just say there's almost always opportunity in every situation, no matter what you're dealing with, no matter what hardships or challenges you're facing. There's almost always an opportunity, a way to turn that thing around, and a lot of it depends on our mindset. And I speak out of failure on this. I've succeeded at this and I've failed at this, and it's the failures that stand out in my mind the most, just because I can look back and see of ways that things could have been built, that things could have been communicated, things I could have gotten across that would have helped my workmates, the businesses I worked for, my family, simply by changing my perspective. And by changing my perspective, changing the way that I would communicate about the things that I was seeing. Because my job is so often, just the way my mind tends to work, is to see gaps, right? To look at things that need to be warned about, that we need to change, dangers. I want to hunt out the danger zones and avoid them, find ways to mitigate the dangers, find ways to do things better so that things steer towards safety. And the problem with that is that too often we can just then holler about the dangers and not necessarily bring solutions to move forward, to move ahead. Um, and that's what we really need to do most of the time to be able to avoid traps that are coming, to avoid pitfalls that are coming. Because if a group of people is heading for a a danger zone, a bad decision, whatever it is, well, the reason that they're going there is because for whatever reason they haven't recognized it as a danger. Obviously, otherwise they wouldn't be moving that way. So we need to be able to reframe things in a way that will help them change their perspective so they can see. We can't just get mad at them for not seeing it if we can't communicate things in a way that brings light to the situation and perspective to the situation so that they can see things better, see things more clearly, see things from a different angle. And first we have to change ourselves then, and that's changing the glasses on your mind. And I'm stealing this phrase from an old teacher, but it's very appropriate for this discussion, I think, because we all have our biases. We all have the lens through which we view the world around us. And that's how we end up with blind spots and preferences and biases. All of it. And it comes because we have, through the lens of our own experience, good and bad experiences, we develop our worldview, right? And that can be correct or it can be wrong. But we need to understand the lens that we're looking through so that we can understand where maybe that lens needs correcting, right? So we need to perceive first what is the lens, what are my biases that I'm viewing things through, and what good Covey quote, what you see often depends on what you're looking for, right? And that's that lens, the glasses on our mind, what we're they affect what it is that we're going to see. We have already a playbook in our head, and so there's certain things we end up looking for, and then you find them. If you're looking for things that are going wrong, and we still need to find the things that are breaking, but if that's all you look for, that's all you're ever going to find. What I want to encourage is to identify those biases so that we can get onto a productive way of changing our own framing and the way that we frame things. We're still going to look, it's okay to look for the things that are going to break, right? We need to be able to do that. But there's another step to that. There's more to that. It isn't just about that. But it does lead us to the question of, what are you looking for? What are you looking for? And this is a real question that I want you to ask yourself. What is your predisposition in life? What do you tend to look for? You could be someone who looks past warning signs and then blows right past them, and you're overly optimistic, maybe in a harmful way, because you don't look at the red flags and the warning signs and you shoot right by. Okay, well, you need to know that too. But are you someone who just always looks for the negative? Are you always just waiting for the next shoe to drop and what's the next bad thing that's going to happen? And neither one by itself is going to serve you well. There actually needs to be something of a combination of the two, of those two gaps, shall we say. And Thoreau, the question is not what you look at, but what you see. It's not what you're looking at, but it's what you see, because your perception of things ends up being the reality that you work with, and where we get frustrated with one another, right? Because we're all perceiving slightly different realities because of the lens that we're looking through, because of our presuppositions, right? Because of our different experiences. So that question is valid too. What are you looking for? What are you looking for? And identify that as well, because once you understand what you tend to be looking for, now you can start to adjust and get to a place where hopefully we're starting to look for the right things. And the reason that we want to do that is because we want to get to a place where we can propose opportunities, right? Where we can propose opportunities and not just corrections. Propose opportunities and not just corrections. Um, uh, I love this Cicero quote of I criticize by creation, not by finding fault. I criticize by creation, not by finding fault. And I think that just points to the fact that what I'm trying to say is that we need to get a framework in our minds that allows us to look for opportunities and not just problems, so that we can propose opportunities and not just corrections, right? Because if you change your mindset so that it's not now, what the lesson here is that it's not now that you're not looking for gaps and you're not looking for dangers and you're not looking for places where things are failing, but now you're looking at them so that you can find a solution. You're looking at and you want to find those gaps so that you can find the opportunities, because in those gaps, in the places where things are breaking, in the places where things aren't working right, in the places where you're going a wrong direction, those are all opportunities then for you and your team and your company to make gains, right? To get ahead when those things find a solution, when you find a solution for those things. Okay. So that's a huge shift, though, and it doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen on accident or casually. Um, at first, you have to go back to the previous steps. And there's a reason why I had everything in the order that I did, because you do need to identify your biases first, the glasses on your mind. You do. If you don't do that first, you're going to be fighting against yourself and not know why things aren't working and why you're not changing. Okay. So you have to identify the glasses on your mind, identify what you're looking for, what you're predisposed to look for, what's your natural tendency. Okay. Identify that. And then you can start to look at, once you've done that, now understanding your own tendencies, find whatever your gaps are, whatever direction you're weak. Now start to build on that side, start to focus on that side, so that when you look for the dangers, when you look for the breakage, you're not just looking to criticize, but now you're looking for opportunities, and you're looking to build, and you're looking to bring solutions. You see that? It's this whole process of where maybe you naturally are a naturally critical person. I am. That can help you in finding the problems. But then the attitude that you come out of that with, and the way that you approach it, and then the way that you present, even if you then come up with opportunities, but if you present those opportunities heavy on the fact of, look, here's where we've been messing up, and letting everybody know about it, and then here's an opportunity, well, people aren't going to be that open to listen at that point. Not as many. So if you're naturally critical, you need to learn to see things as opportunities and allow yourself to get excited about the fact that, look, here are these opportunities that we can genuinely exploit, that will get us ahead. Here are things that are wrong, but here is how we can fix them. And isn't that great? Isn't that exciting? Maybe you are the overly optimistic one. That's the lens through which you see things. Okay. So when you see some things that are wrong, but you don't want to highlight or pound too much on the things that are wrong, you just go ahead and try to bring the solution without emphasizing what the problem was to begin with, what the need was of why you need the solution. And you're going to have to focus on that. You're going to have to focus on bringing a sense of urgency and need because of what's broken and how it's been affecting your group and your company. And then you're going to be able to then lean into getting excited about, here's this opportunity and here's what we can do. But both are absolutely necessary, because if you do not adequately understand how things were broken before, and how there was this need, and how it was hurting people, and maybe there's personalities and different mindsets that were negatively affecting it that led you there. Habits, bad culture, right, that needs change, that will need to be highlighted. Because if we don't understand how something is hurting us, we're very unlikely to move. So we do need to be able to stress that, but then we need to be able to bring and get genuinely, and it needs to come in the spirit of, I'm not doing this. You're not doing this to make anyone feel bad or to push anyone down. You're doing it to just highlight the need. This is really broken. This is how it's hurting us. But hey, guys, together we can make a change. We can pivot to this better solution. Here are some potential solutions, potential avenues for growth. And isn't that exciting? Isn't that great? Here we can identify this, we can change this, and everything will be better. And that will help you carry the day, and you're going to be a lot more fun to be around too, as opposed to either being the one who's always pie in the sky with recommendations about things that never work, or the person who's just always constantly criticizing. Now you are rowing with both oars, and you're going to be able to make real progress in your own life and in your own career and for whoever you work for or with. So to me, those things are exciting. And the best part about this is all stuff that you can do, that I can do. You don't have to wait for the people around you to change. And that's what we try to be about here, is the things we can control, the things we can change. Okay. Because there's plenty that we can't. And if you waste your time trying to change things you just can't, that aren't going to change, and you beat your head against that wall, you're wasting energy that could be better put to use elsewhere. These things are things you can change. This is about changing your mindset, the way you frame things and your habits. And then that can have a positive effect around you. To what degree will depend who you work with and all of that. But we're not going to fix everything. Our goal is just to make things better, just to move the needle in the right direction. To consistently do that, after a year or two, we'll see where we end up, right? And that's the case with all the things we talk about here on the Daily Dance, okay? It's that daily faithfulness that moves things along, and it may be painfully slow, but it's better to be moving things in the right direction than not at all. And so these are things that you can do. So check the glasses on your mind. What are you looking for? What are your biases? What are your preconceived ideas? What is the lens through which you tend to view the world? It might even lead you to start to identify blind spots, which are really hard. A lot of times you need someone else's input to be able to see your blind spots, because they are blind spots. But doing these types of changes can help you start to identify blind spots as well. So the lens on your mind, you find what you're looking for, what you're predisposed to, and then you're going to be able to propose opportunities, not just corrections, right? You'll be able to propose opportunities and not just corrections. And we all should get excited about opportunities to change and to make things better. We should. And enthusiasm is contagious. Do not underestimate it. It's good to go ahead and allow yourself to get excited about potential positive change. So allow yourself to do that for yourself and for your business, okay? So once again, glasses on your mind. What are you looking for? Propose opportunities, not just corrections, and just takes things in a more positive direction. And as you'll see, these things this isn't positive affirmations. This isn't trying to convince yourself that things aren't the way that they are. This is a realistic framework for navigating through life and making positive changes in the environment that you find yourself in. And we can all do that. You're not going to do it perfectly. You're going to fail. That's okay. Again, the point is just to do a little bit better every day. Just a little bit better every day. If you do that, you'll get where you need to go. So homework for this then. I mean, I've kind of given some things, right? Some practical things that you can do that could be considered homework. But the homework I'm going to give you is to identify the opportunity within one problem. So think of one big problem. Maybe it's the one thing that you see people banging their head against all the time. It may be the elephant in the room for your business, the thing that everybody knows is a problem, but no one wants to touch, no one wants to deal with. Take some time think deeply about the issue and ask yourself, what is the opportunity here? What is the opportunity here? What could be changed? What kind of solution could be proposed that would not only take care of this problem, but actually flip it around to where this actually isn't a problem. It's an opportunity for us to get ahead of our competition, be more profitable, be more efficient, whatever it is. Think about it. Think deeply about it. And you do need to take time to think, by the way. You have to have time to really stop and think. Sometimes you have to turn off the inputs to be able to have time to ruminate, go for a walk, and find some space, some mental space, so that you can think deeply about things. But think deeply about this and identify the opportunity within one problem. Start there. Don't stop there. Once you've done that, then go on to the next one, and then the next one, and the next one. Okay. Maybe find one a week or more that you can start to see what is the opportunity here. And that's a good question to learn to ask yourself too. What is the opportunity here? Someone brings up a problem, don't panic. Ask, what is the opportunity here? What could we do? What are the possibilities? Think about it. Think deeply, and then go ahead and move on that. And when you go to present your potential solutions for that problem, present it with this in mind, that you're presenting an opportunity, so that it doesn't come across as criticism. It doesn't come across then as negative. It comes across as something that people will want to hear and will be more open to receiving and acting on. Okay? So that's your homework. One opportunity, or an opportunity within one problem. You can do that, right? We can all do that. Very, very doable. All right. Well, that is all I have for today. Thank you so much for joining us on the Daily Dance. I want to remind you again that you can find us multiple places. You can find us on LinkedIn and X and Rumble and YouTube. And yes, I'll say again, Locals. Love for you to sign up on Locals so that you can be part of any conversation that we have going on there as we get that community going. And then it helps keep the show going too. So appreciate that. I appreciate you taking the time. I know there's a lot out there that you could be watching or listening to these days, a lot of stuff. So the fact that you've stopped and taken time to listen to this, I'm honored. I'm thankful. Please share this show with your friends and coworkers and family, anyone that you think might possibly benefit or be encouraged by what we do here. That would be great. And please keep in mind, it may not be your cup of tea. Not every show will be, but you may have friends and family that would benefit. And so I'd be grateful for you spreading the word around on that as well. So thanks again. Remember just to keep on working on things that you can control and worry less about the things that you can't, and everything in your life will start to move in a better direction. I guarantee it. Thanks again for watching. We appreciate it. And until next time, always remember to keep on dancing.